Well, hello and welcome. This is so good to see you. I am stopping by on this live because I wanted to share something with you today. So, I have a question from one of my followers, and they asked the question: how can I let go of a long term relationship that's no longer serving me? You see, I've been in a relationship or been friends with someone for over 50 years. But as we get older, I notice that that person is not changing and not doing things that empower them. So, no matter what I'm saying to them to take care of themselves or to move them along in their lives, just this little suggestion so that we can be more friends or do more things together, they still do not do it. Okay. So, that's a really big one. I'm going to tell you letting go of something that no longer serves you, or letting go of a friendship, letting go of a family member, letting go of things that no longer serve you is so empowering. Let me tell you, it is so empowering. And I'm sorry to hear that you've been going through these difficulties of letting go of a long time relationship, especially when it's something that's been meaningful for so long. You know how you get those relationships that you've been in for years. You probably guys were probably in kindergarten together. Letting go, especially, is very emotional. I know that for myself, setting those goals, I've done that for myself. I've actually gone through a similar situation that I had to set some boundaries because it wasn't making any sense. A relationship of any type, familial, workplace, colleagues, uh, romantic, they have to be reciprocal. They have to care as much as you care. Because when you are giving more than they're giving, it really doesn't equate to anything. It's that you're just caregiving somebody, you know, and you're being loyal to someone who's not being loyal to you, is not being certain on how to care for you or not being concerned. And it's unfortunate, but these and that what you're going through and what I've experienced can be one of the hardest things you ever go through. I mean, just thinking about it and how do I let go? Like you've been there for years. You've been, rock solid. But when you're investing more energy into something and more emotion into something, more than another person, no matter what part of life it is, it's really hard. And these people and these relationships become part of you. So how do you go without it? So here's what I came up with, and a great, a great, maybe it's a great analogy. Maybe think about a tree, and right now in New York, I know it's autumn, and the trees are turning from green, and all those beautiful colors they're turning brown, right? And as much as those leaves brought the sunlight and brought animals to kind of sit on their shade and all of that to the tree, because really the leaf is really just the product of being part of the tree, right? Hello, I just thought of that. But the leaf is just being part of the tree, but what it actually does is kind of shades it, right? But when it's that season for it to go as much as it needs it, the tree has to let it go and starts to have the power to maintain some of those things that the leaf did provide. So you get what I'm saying? So it sounds like in your case and like in mine, I can share with you, you've recognized it. If you have to ask that question, you already recognized it. Now you have to acknowledge that this relationship is no longer serving you. It's no longer, hey, I'll be over your house, you'll be over your house, and it's no longer serving you. It's not something that's fulfilling. A friendship is supposed to be filling. So if it's no longer serving you, despite your efforts, despite what you're saying to say, hey, I need this, and this is what I'm looking for, and despite of all that you're saying and adding into the relationship, and there's no response or it's not being reciprocated, both people are not connecting and contributing in a healthy, balanced way, when the balance starts to tip too far in one direction, it can be emotionally draining. I know. Yeah, you could be thinking about it, and they're not even thinking about you, to be honest with you. You're thinking about it. How could this be happening? How can we be on two different pages? They're not even thinking about it. They're going about their daily life. They're acting like nothing happened. They do. They act like there's nothing happened. Even if you address it, you know, nothing happens. And then sometimes when you address it, resentment happens. And, and then you're even more stressed out because you're trying to navigate this. But let me tell you what happens when you keep doing this and continue this, you get burnt the freak out. You'll get burnt out. And you even lose yourself in the whole process because you're trying to make up what that friendship is, because it's you, the friendship, and the other person. So you're trying to make up what the friendship is, what it's supposed to look like, what it's supposed to feel like, and they're doing nothing. They're not committed. So you have to understand the need to let go. And the first step of letting go is often the hardest one, acknowledging that something is no longer good for you. You know, not to say that, yes, you are paramount and things are supposed to be, reciprocal, and you're supposed to be getting something out of the relationship, because that's what you're in a relationship for, is to get something out of it. So it's not being selfish, it's to get something out of it. I wish people stop saying that. Oh, you're just in a relationship to get, yes, that's what a relationship's for. Hello. I don't say it's and you both do. You both get something out of it, and it's healthy. It's not bad, but when you're getting something bad out of it, forget about it. Okay. Um, we often resist this realization that we should acknowledge it, and we feel like it's a personal failure. I've even seen that with some clients who got divorced. They were like, it's a failure. No, you did the best you can. Now it's dead. Now you got to move on. You got to figure it out, navigate through it, and become more self-aware. And if don't, you don't become self-aware, and you don't have your self-respect. You neglect your own self, which is not a good thing. So it's natural to ask yourself, did I do enough? Could I did things different? Coulda, woulda, shoulda, throw them out the window. Stop replaying the conversation. Stop replaying the moments and even regretting in your mind. You're not going to find the answer that justifies holding on. Yeah. So you may find the answer to why they don't want to be bothered, which is going to hurt you even more because they just don't have that energy for it, number one, maybe, or they're not interested anymore, which you should be, because it's time to let it go. It simply means that you're accepting the reality that the dynamics have changed, period. And sometimes that reality is out of your control. So you have some control issues when you don't want to take acknowledging that you have some control issues, that you don't want to think that this relationship is over. Here's the emotional challenges, and this is something I kind of experienced as well. Is that emotional attachment, right? It's somehow and clinging on to that potential that that relationship would be, to the end where you're dancing as old people, dancing and chilling as old people, cracking up, laughing. But the reality is that it's actually over. And then you tell yourself emotionally, it wasn't always like this. Or maybe things will change. That's just a bad attachment. But you're really attached to the past. You're not attached to the present moment or the future. And that's what you keep getting stuck in, and you'll be unable to move and unable to figure out where you're at because you're there. So grief. A huge part of having the power of letting go is grieving, even though that person may be still alive. And the bond is changing or fading. It's natural to grieve that loss. You have to grieve it. It's okay to feel sad, angry, confused, or even relieved sometimes. All these feelings are valid. So letting go stirs up a fear of loneliness or uncertainty. And let me just tell you, when you're moving up in your levels, in the levels that you're moving up in, emotionally, intelligence, behavioral patterns are changing, breaking generational traumas, curses, intergenerational realizations. When you're getting out of that, there's a period or a time that there's going to be some solitude, not loneliness, but a lot of solitude. Okay. And it may feel like loneliness at the beginning, but what's stopping you from going out and doing something that you love, or hanging out, just going out to a general party without somebody on your arm? What's stopping you from doing that? I know it feels like you're stepping into the unknown, but you had to do that in order to get friends with other people, right? Right. The fear of being alone or not finding another connection that fulfills us can make the process of letting go seem even more daunting, but it can be done. So, the process of letting go is powerful. One is acceptance. Accept it. It no longer exists. That relationship no longer exists. This one here, where we are, it's not the same. So you don't have to erase those good memories back then, or pretend that the relationship never meant anything, or even pretend that it didn't even exist. That's a big problem too. But acknowledge that the dynamics have changed, and you're holding on to something that no longer serves you, and it brings you pain to have it. Two, have some self-compassion in yourself. Be gentle with yourself. And it's easy to get caught up in self-blame, what coulda, coulda, shouldas. Um, but give yourself some self-love. You say to yourself, I deserve relationships that nourish me, not deplete me. Remember that it's okay to feel weight of the transition. It's okay. You're human, and the process will come up and go down, and it's okay. You're going to go through it. Three, release control. You control freaks out there, knock it off. Just release control. It's not in your outcome. It's nothing that you can do about it. You can't fix it. You can't believe it away. You can't positive it away. You can't do enough. You can't behave, better. You can't do anything. The reality is you can only control your actions. So part of letting go is surrendering to the fact that we cannot force others to meet us where we need them to meet us. Can't do it. Fourth, is to forgive yourself first and then forgive others. Let go of the resentment. It's a process. It's not all automatic. Let me tell you, because it took me a little bit to, I gotta let it go. This is what that person is. I was feeling anger in the beginning, and I was like, I can't even feel that. Gotta let that go, because that will not serve me. And all it do is rest in my body and kill me. You know, rest as dis-ease and get in my body and kind of hurt me. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing anybody's behavior, even yours, but it does mean releasing the hold of those feelings that it has on you so you can move forward. Create a space for healing. As you're letting go, make sure you have a great place to heal. And I'm going to tell you that I have a place that I have my own healing corner, and I have methods to help me heal, because it's going to take some time to fully cut ties away. Healing isn't linear, so give yourself time and permission to grieve and process at your own pace. Forget about everybody else. Process at your own pace. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and support you during this time. So, moving forward, I hope that I said something that could help my follower answer that dreaded question: how do I begin to let go of a long time relationship that is no longer serving me? Hope I gave you the answer. See you next live. Bye for now.